afternoon, Rip City. Welcome into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, getting you ready for another game on the road tonight. It is your Portland Trailblazers taking on the Toronto Raptors, the team that claims to be from the north, even though Portland is the more north. If you know, you know. The Blazers entering this game, though, they riding a one-game win streak. They snapped their four-game skid just a game ago in Atlanta. And let me tell you what, it was interesting there on Tuesday night because you're sitting there, you're watching the stands, you're like, okay, what's going to happen? Anthony Simons doesn't play. Scoot Henderson doesn't play. He's in concussion protocol. You're like, this is going to be one of those games. Maybe you just take the L. You're looking at the Tankathon standings and a chance to get up to the 8th spot, maybe even the 7th. Catch up to the Raptors team you're playing tonight who's there. But the Blazers have been playing decent ball, right? You look at their four-game skid. They lost to Boston. They lost to Cleveland. They lost to New York, the three best teams in the East. They lost to Sacramento. That one is looming awfully, awfully large right now because that Sacramento team has all of a sudden started to free fall. And you look at what's going on, and they lost their game last night to the Wizards. They lost to the Wizards. They've now lost 3 in a row. They're sitting there at 10th in the standings with just a 3-game lead over your Portland Trailblazers with 6 games left to play. So, again, even though the odds may be against you, the odds are still there. The Blazers not mathematically eliminated from the play-in yet. But to guarantee it, they're going to have to win 4 more games than the Kings over their next 6. We shall see what happens. It all starts tonight, though, with a matchup in Toronto. And as we've talked about, the rest of the schedule very favorable for your Trailblazers because their next 4 games, Toronto, Chicago, San Antonio, and the Utah Jazz. There is a chance Portland could go on a little bit of a run. But it all, again, it starts with how things go tonight in Toronto, because if you lose this game, then okay, now you're really up against the ropes. But you win this game, then that hope that you've been clinging to, maybe you cling just a little bit tighter. And of course, I say it all starts with tonight in Toronto, but that's because I'm just taking it all one game at a time. In reality, it started with that game on Tuesday in Atlanta where the Blazers had themselves a pretty good ball game. Right now, the game was very, very interesting out of the gate. The first quarter was a little bit of 2 teams kind of jostling for a little bit of leverage. Who was going to end up being the team that grabbed the lead, went ahead and, asserted themselves. I think we talked about this a little bit that, it was going to be the team that really kind of went on the run first was going to be the team that ended up winning this game. And you look at that game in the first quarter, it ended up being 27-26 in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. But there was, again, the jockeying for position. There was 4 lead changes. They were tied 6 times. The biggest lead for the Blazers was 6 points. The biggest lead for Atlanta was just 3. And then you get into the second quarter, and they jockey for position a little bit. The Blazers end strong. They win the quarter 31-27. In that quarter, there was 3 lead changes, tied just 1 time. Portland got out to a 7-point lead, and I think you started to see Portland slowly start to take control. And then in the third quarter, Portland opened up on an 11-5 run. They extended their lead to 9, which was the largest lead at the time. They ended up extending that run to 26-2, and they would take the lead 83-66 at that point. Now they outscored Atlanta 40-30 in the third quarter. They led 97-84 after 1. And then in the fourth quarter, it was a quick 8-0 run by Atlanta to try to get back in the game. But then kudos to the Blazers because they were able to flex on them a little bit and get back out to the lead that they needed, right? And they held it. And I think you got to give the Blazers some credit for that because with what Atlanta was trying to do, I think it was very clear that Portland was in a situation where they could have dropped that game and dropped that lead, but they didn't. They held on to it. So you got to give them credit for that. That is always nice to see. Now, looking at the box score, Delano Banton, he came in, got the start because, again, there was no Scoot Henderson because he's dealing with concussion protocol. There was no Anthony Simons, who was questionable for tonight's game on last check. But Delano Banton had 11 points, 7 rebounds, and a career-high 4 block shots. So very good game for Delano Banton. 11 points and 7 rebounds for Donovan Kling. And he also had 5 assists, so he was pouring it on. 18 points for Tumani Kamara to go along with 2 rebounds and an assist. And he did injure his shoulder in this one. And I think everyone thought it was going to be bad, but he remained in the game and post game talked about it being, hey, it's good to go. A little bit of a stinger. We have those when you play professional sports, but he seems pretty good. But the story of this one was Denny Avdia. Denny Avdia, 32 points, 15 boards, 10 assists, a phenomenal triple-double from a guy who has really solidified himself over the last month as the Trailblazers' best player. At least that's how he's been playing, right? He has been playing like the Trailblazers' best player. And to go off in this one, that was pretty incredible to see that performance. Like I said, 30, 15, 10, like that's some rarefied air. I mean, how rarefied? Well, it was the second triple-double of the season for Denny, and he became just the 5th player in NBA this season with multiple 30-point triple-doubles. The other 4 players that he joined, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Luka Doncic. Pretty good territory, right? Also, just the 4th player in the NBA this season to record a game of 30, 15, and 10. The other 3, Nikola Jokic, Jason Tatum, and Jimmy Butler. Yeah, pretty good performance from Denny Avdia, to say the least. That every single one of those names is an all-star, a stud, a future Hall of Famer. We'll see what Denny continues to build on. Regardless, what he did in that game was pretty incredible. And it wasn't him that was alone. Like, he was not alone doing his own thing, because Shaedon Sharpe also incredible in this one. He had a 33-point, 10-rebound double-double. So two players had 30-point double-doubles. Of course, Denny ended up turning into a triple-double. Not a bad performance. Not a bad performance at all. Not at all. And you love that. And I love post-game, Denny got a chance to talk to Brooke Olzendam. And he was, she asked about the triple-double. And it's funny because he put a lot of praise on Shea, and you love to hear it. So let's take a listen to what Denny had to say after the game.
Denny, you guys made that huge run in the third quarter, but the Hawks got it down to single digits in the fourth. How were you able to show composure down the stretch and get this win?
Yeah, it was a tight one. I feel like, as I say it a lot through the season. We show character, we play together, we move the ball. I think today we were just patient and made open shots. Everybody played so well today, so we came out on top for sure.
You had a magnificent March. You start April with your second career triple-double. How do you make it look easy when I know it is very much not?
It's not easy. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? I still have a lot to grow. I couldn't done it, the triple-double, without my teammates. But, I still got to take care of the ball a little better. Still got to tweak some things here and there. But, it's fun. It's fun, especially for, we won. So that's what matters for sure.
You always love to give that credit to your teammates, so I will let you. What have you thought about Shaedon, especially tonight?
Hey, Shaedon double-double, right? Yes, yeah. Way to be on the glass, way to help the team. He's been aggressive. He's such a talented player, and I'm happy at the game. Just, stay consistent, be humble, and he's going to be all right. He's great.
And I love that. And the video of that is even better, because when Brooke asks him about Shea, he just lights up and has a huge smile. And we've talked about the chemistry, the camaraderie, and how this team really does root for each other. You've seen Scoot Henderson get mad after a game because he's like, yeah, I didn't. I just wish I could have got everyone involved a little bit more, because he was looking to get everyone else going. And Denny goes and has a incredible triple-double, puts himself in some rarefied air, and there he is just smiling, talking about Shaedon Sharpe, and it kind of tells you what that locker room is like right now. That's really awesome to hear that and see that. And, of course, Shea deserves that praise too. We talked about it. We need what I want to see over the last 8, 9, 12, 10 games is I want to see Shea kind of assert himself, have his I'm here moment. And to go out there and have his 33 and 10 double-double in a game they needed him to do, that is a little bit of an I'm here moment. And we'll see if he can build off that and continue to play well. If those two go out there and play incredible again tonight, then sign me up. I'm loving it, right? You should be loving it too. But that totally puts you in a incredible spot, all things considered. I want to see those guys continue to get their run. Now, looking at the Blazers bench real quick, they had a pretty good game too, because you look at what happened in New York when Portland took the L. The Blazers bench had just 4 points, all 4 of them coming courtesy of DeWop Reith. Right now in this game, it was a much better performance from your bench. Matisse Thybulle had 8 points. DeWop Reith chipped in another 5. Jabari Walker had 9 points as well. Those guys each playing 15 minutes or more. Matisse Thybulle got 29, and that was a key in this one as well was the ability to get some of those bench guys in there a little bit longer than 4 minutes or 3 minutes or what it was, and give those starters just a little bit of a rest because they're going to need it. You got tonight in Toronto. It's a back-to-back, so they got tomorrow night in Chicago before they come home for one of their final 3 home games. San Antonio, then back on the road for Utah, and then they got at home against Golden State and the Los Angeles Lakers to round it out. But it is crazy when you look at those standings, how, again, you are clinging on to hope because you're still mathematically there in the play-in. If you want to join the conversation with me today, go on over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and get in on the chat there, where Kobe says, I always thought Denny, his peak, would be a great second option and an offensive hub like Şengün there in Houston. That's a pretty good comp, and he's a pretty good player. So if he's going to play like him, yeah, and you build good parts around him, then you're doing great. Now, he's playing like he can be a 1. I don't know how long that's sustainable, and I don't know if he's truly the number 1 guy on a team that wants to be a playoff contender, but it doesn't matter because you get pieces around him, and everyone continues to grow. Like 2 has grown so well over the summer and through this year, and if Shea continues to grow, who I truly think has number 1 potential if he ever hits that ceiling of his, and then you still have Denny there, and you're in a really, really good spot, right? So I like that comp. They do play pretty good games, man. And what makes Şengün so good too is the ability to play within that lineup, right? He makes the people around him better, and that's good. That's good to have that type of guy who can go in and make the people around him better. He isn't just putting up gaudy numbers; he's doing so in a way that makes the people around him have good games too. I think that's pretty special. This is a very good run for Denny, as some people pointed out. I mean, you look at his stats on the season; they're kind of on par with what he did last year in Washington, but I think the difference is right now is the consistency in which he's doing it, and the fact that it is these last 2 weeks and the last 2 months have been incredible, and he's doing it like a star, and he's being used in a much different way than he was in Washington, and that is really, really nice to see. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to head to the Coach's Corner. We're going to hear what Coach Billups had to say following this win in Atlanta. Continue to get you ready for Toronto and Portland. Last time Portland played Toronto, that was the, whoa, what's going on here with the taking all my players out? It was kind of weird. They might be doing that again this time, just ahead of the game. We'll talk about when we return here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, getting you ready for a little bit of basketball today. Trailblazers on the road taking on the Toronto Raptors. This is game 3 of their 5-game road trip. Started in Sacramento, then went over to New York, down to Atlanta, back up to Toronto, and will end tomorrow in Chicago. So a nice little road trip. And again, Blazers clinging to hope here of getting in to the play-in. There is still hope, especially with Sacramento, dropping that game to Washington last night, which is just, who saw that one coming? Taking a quick look at what's going on tonight. Not a lot that has bearing on the Blazers, but you do have Orlando at Washington, Milwaukee at Philadelphia, Minnesota at Brooklyn, Memphis at Miami, Portland, of course, at Toronto. And then the nightcap tonight is Golden State taking on the Lakers in LA. So none of those games have any bearing on what's going on with the Trailblazers and the race in the standings. However, there is a little bit to watch out for tomorrow night as you have Phoenix on the road in Boston. That's going to be a tough one. Sacramento taking on Charlotte, which I think a lot of people would have chalked up to an easy Sacramento win, but then Sacramento lost to Washington, so things are getting a little crazy there. But those are two games that you're definitely going to want to watch. You also have Dallas on the road in LA. They've kind of pulled away a little bit. We talked, it was Dallas, Phoenix, and Portland, and we were talking about which one was going to get in there. I said, I think Dallas of those three is going to be the one that holds on. I don't see the other two jumping them. Well, I still don't see Phoenix or Portland jumping Dallas, but that's because Dallas has jumped Sacramento, and they're sitting there at the 9 spot right now. And they do look like a pretty decent team when Anthony Davis is healthy. He is making a difference for them. But those are some games for you to watch tomorrow night on the calendar. Tonight, though, it's all Blazer-centric. All right, the Blazers did go to Atlanta, though, and pick up an impressive victory, even though they were shorthanded. Final score in that one, 127-113. So let's hear what Coach had to say. It's time for the Coach's Corner.
Thank you.
Not to like, but what? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
What did you like most about this one?
Most. There's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, I loved how we played the entire night. You know, we talked about how important it was to get off to a good start. We had 8 turnovers in our game against them in Portland, getting them off to a really good start because they're so disruptive defensively. And, you know, we had 11 at the half, so that was one of the areas of concern, and I tried to talk them through that. But they took advantage of us a little bit in the first and second quarter. Their leak outs, their run outs, they was getting some transition baskets. And I wanted us to stay locked in on our offensive rebounding. You know, I thought we could have a big night against them, and we did. We get 32 second chance points, our biggest night of the season. But sometimes those leak outs can deter you. You know, you're so worried about getting back that you don't go to the glass. I thought our guys stayed focused on that. And we just did it together. I mean, obviously, Denny had a big night, triple-double. Shaden had a huge night, double-double. You know, I thought Tumani's night was huge, even though he was in foul trouble. You know, Delano had a really good second half, 4 blocks in the game. Only 6 turnovers in the second half, which was huge, especially against a team, you know, that leads the league in steals, or second in the league in steals, and second in deflections. Some big nights, some big games for these guys.
You mentioned Shaden yesterday after practice. I asked him what's been the key to his play, and he said being aggressive, but also I was curious what you thought about his decision-making while being aggressive.
I thought it was good. And that's the one thing I'm always telling Shay, you know, just continue to stay aggressive. You know, some nights you're going to be making, sometimes you won't, but your aggressiveness allows other guys to get shots, you know. So he stayed on the attack the entire night. I thought he was great. We needed him on the glass big time. You know, to get 25 rebounds from between him and Danny is a big deal. You know, a big deal. So I thought Shaden was awesome all night, defensive end too.
It seemed like Denny tonight too, early on in the game, it seemed like he really got it off to a fast start. And it feels like he's done that a lot for you this season, kind of getting, at least on the offensive end, kind of sparking things. Have you seen that at all? And I guess, you know, we talked so much about Denny on this trip, but like, what have you kind of learned about ways to utilize him this season?
Well, I'm just utilizing him in every way. You know, there's nothing that I say maybe not Like I'm trying everything with him, and he's doing a really good job with it. Again, him too. I want our guys to be aggressive. I always want to be the aggressor. As a team, period. Offensively, defensively, that's what we strive to do and be. And then he starts off the game really attacking. I just believe in that. I believe in hitting first and trying to get your opponent on his heels and retreating. And we've done a pretty good job of that.
You mentioned the second half, especially third quarter. You guys outscored them by 10. I think you shot like 60% from the field.
Yeah.
Kind of what did you guys talk about in the locker room that resulted in that? Because it really seemed like there was a bit of a change from the first half to the second.
Yeah, we again, I thought we had a pretty good half, the first half, just against this team. But we talked about taking care of the ball. Got to take care of the ball, man. They were scoring a ton in transition on us, and a lot of it was self-inflicted wounds. So I talked about that, not playing in crowds, sharing the ball, moving the ball. Nobody was going to do it on their own. I told Denny, and I told Shea both at halftime, neither one of y'all can win it by yourself. Continue to be unselfish, continue to make the right passes, the right plays, and they did that, and still had huge nights. They're just that good.
You guys shot the ball better than them tonight. I know you and I discussed your team defense, what you wanted to see from your guys tonight. Did you see what you wanted to?
I did. We did a really good job. Our pressure, I thought, was really good. Our physicality was really good. Obviously, a guy like Trae Young gets 29 and 15, and I feel like we did a really good job against him. That's just how good of a player he is. But I thought we impacted everywhere else. The glass, we won the glass, get 30 assists in the game. I thought we just did a really good job.
And there you hear Coach Billups, and as I stated yesterday, I assure you that was not filmed like near the shower. It sounds like the Blazers did some good work there, kind of cleaning the audio up. It was pretty gnarly right there from the arena. I don't know what they were doing. Sometimes they put coaches in a weird spot, and you get some audio nuances, man. It is pretty wild. And of course, we got Jokers in the chat. Iron Rod, is it over yet? He doesn't like listening. Chauncey, hey, gotta let my voice rest. You gotta let Chauncey out there. I'm no Senator Cory Booker over here. I don't know if I could go 25 hours straight just yakking. If I can convince Chad to let me have a 24-hour stream on the radio, though, we're gonna make it happen one day. Shacker is probably in my corner. He can do a couple hours, then Brendan can tag out for a couple hours. I will do a 24/25-hour radio stream. We do get commercial breaks, though, for me to use the restroom. I'm not crazy. I'll do it, though. Don't you test me. Don't you challenge me. All right, this is Blazers Game Day. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, get in on the chat there. And, of course, you can find me over on social media at Chris J. Burkhardt. We're going to take a quick little break here on the show. When we come back, though, it's time for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. We still got some keys to the game to get to a little bit later as well as we get you ready for Raptors, Blazers. Blazers, Donovan clinging to hope of making the play-in. Still crazy that 6 games left. That's what we're talking about. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Chris Burkhardt here with you. This is your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. You can also join the conversation over at youtube.com. Just type in Rip City Radio. It is time now, though, for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. All right, time now for those Coors Cold Hard Facts, and it's a Coors Cold Hard question, and I'm kind of wondering is multifaceted here. Is I want to know have we seen the last of Jeremy Grant in a Trailblazer uniform? I mean, the constantly doubtful, right, if he'll play, and it's wondering if okay, is the injury here? Is he not? Are they playing for a play-in spot? What are they doing? And I know that the injuries sucks, and I know people like to give Jeremy Grant a lot of flack, but I mean he's been doubtful for a while. He hasn't played in these games. There's only a handful of games left. Starting to wonder if we've seen the last of him in a Trailblazer uniform. Only 6 games left. I don't know if there's a rush to try to get him in for any reason. And we all have always talked about whether or not he's going to be moved in the offseason. And if he is, I'll probably be a little disappointed, just personally, because I like Jeremy. I think he's been fun. I know he gets paid a lot, and people get mad about what his production is for what he does. But man, he hasn't done anything wrong by this team. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I just think it's interesting what we're seeing from him. And then, of course, Robert Williams as well, left knee management. He's out in this game. DeAndre Ayton, he's out in this game. I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going anywhere right now. I think that he's put himself in as that center, even though Donovan Clingan's playing real well. You need that depth. But Jeremy Grant, man, I wouldn't mind just one more game just to suit him up for the LA game to see what happens, okay? See what happens. Now, again, he was doubtful. Anthony Simons is questionable for tonight's game. Right, forearm contusion. He did not play in that game against Atlanta. So we'll see when we get an updated injury report from your Trailblazers. As for your opponent tonight, the Toronto Raptors, they are dealing with some injuries. They're resting some players. I did see that Scotty Barnes has been upgraded. He will play tonight, but Emmanuel Quickly and Jakob Poeltl are resting, and you got other injuries they're dealing with. And keep in mind, this is an interesting team because this is the team that last time you played him, what happened? That was the Scotty Barnes having a really good game, the team kind of controlling what was going on, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, those starters, we don't need to play them anymore. We're just gonna go ahead and take them out, and we're gonna take Poeltl out, who was having a pretty good game, and in the last few minutes there, we're going to start all of our bench guys. We're going to have Orlando Robinson take a last-second shot, despite the fact that he's 4 of 12 from the floor and he's not a three-point shooter. Like, that was, as we talked about, one of the most egregious tank attempts. The team was winning. The team had the game well in control, and then they just took everybody out. And then that next game against Washington, it was kind of the same thing because Jordan Poole only played 10 minutes. Chris Middleton only played 10 minutes. Alex Sarr was subbed out in the second half, and it's like, okay, I see what we're doing here. And Toronto has that incentive again, so we'll see what happens tonight. Because unlike the Blazers, as we sit here and talk about NBA standings, unlike the Blazers, Toronto is basically out of this bad boy. Toronto is, again, they'd have to go undefeated and have everyone else lose, but even then, it wouldn't matter. They are out, right? They're eliminated, so it doesn't matter. All they have to worry about is where they sit in the tankathon scheme. Like, they can win this game. They can win all the rest of their games. Chicago is the closest team to them, could go out the gate and lose every single game the rest of the way, and it does not matter. Toronto is out. So they got nothing except that tankathon. And if they win this game, that means that Portland, who is currently just 5 games back of them in the standings, picks up a lot of ground for that 7th spot, and that's not what you want to do. So, in fact, if you're Toronto, you want to try to keep losing because you only got a 3-game gap between you and Brooklyn. You could climb up to 6 if things get lucky. So tonight's game is going to be really, really interesting, and that's a cool Coors Cold Hard fact too. So we'll see where they go and what happens. But if that is the situation, you continue to watch what goes down. I mean, again, Sacramento has an air quotes easy game tomorrow against Charlotte. I say air quotes easy because, we didn't think that they would go in and lose to Washington, but they did, 116 to 111. They've lost 3 in a row, Magic, Pacers, Wizards. Before that, they had lost 4 in a row. They broke their losing streak by taking down the Blazers. And again, in a game that looms extra large right now, you look at that going, oh man, if you would have had that game, this whole thing looks a lot different. I mean, a lot different. You're sitting there. They had lost one. You've won one. You're 2 games back in one game. That's, oh my gosh, how different it could have been had you won that game in Sacramento. But that's not the case. That's not the case. Now you're sitting 3 games back from Sacramento instead of those 2 with those 6 games left to play, as we've talked about. And so that Sacramento team, they got that, again, air quotes, easy game in Charlotte. But the rest of their schedule, at Cleveland, at Detroit, and then 3 home games at the end of the year, Denver, LA, and Phoenix. So that's rough. And the bad part, if you're a Trailblazer fan, is the fact that that last game is against Phoenix, which means both teams are going to be going crazy, because if these standings continue to play like they are, I mean, that might be a situation where winner of that game gets in, winner of that game has the leg up. It might winner of that game and it gets in if Portland loses. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no matter what, one of those teams that's ahead of you is gaining a game, no matter what. So if you're the Blazers, you really got to focus the rest of the way. You really got to focus the rest of the way. As for the Phoenix Suns, who you're also watching very closely, nothing gets easy for them. They got Boston, New York, Golden State, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and then Sacramento. So that San Antonio, Sacramento is pretty nice to end the year, right? But they still got a gauntlet too. They could keep losing. They have lost 4 in a row, Phoenix has, including a loss to Boston, 132 to 102. Not too long ago. So here we go, man. Buckle up. Because I mean, while the odds are against the Blazers, the ride is fun. The scoreboard watching is fun. The standings watching is fun. I mean, Portland wins this game, and then you see what happens tomorrow with Phoenix and Sacramento, and you might just be sitting here going, there are 5 games left, and Portland has 2 games to make up. What is going on? This is wild. The hope is there. We'll see what happens. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, it's time for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. We're going to talk a little bit more about this game, your Blazers, what they need to do moving forward, and some things I've really, really liked from them lately. Win or loss, there's some things I love about this team moving forward. We're going to talk about them when we return here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Time now for our keys to the game. What do the Trailblazers need to do to get a win over the Toronto Raptors tonight? Up to our friends up north, even though Portland is the more north. Come on now. Latitudes and longitudes, look them up. Maps prove a lot, guys. Just because you're north of the border doesn't mean you're the most north. You're just north of this point that we have established. That's further south than other parts of your border. See? Geography, man. It's wild. What do the Blazers need to do to win this game tonight, though, against one of the worst teams in the NBA, in the Toronto Raptors? Well, they need to score more points than them, that's for one. Portland averages 110.9 points per game. Toronto averages 110.8. So these are two teams. Chauncey Billups said it last time that they're kind of the same sometimes. The way they're young, they're trying to figure things out. They're trying to figure out where their future's going. They got pieces, but they play a similar game, and they obviously do there. 110 points each, separated by just that tenth of a point. And they also, both three-point shooters, both teams 34% 0.8, 34.6 in favor of the Toronto Raptors. Free throws 21.5 to 22.2 in favor of your Portland Trailblazers. Rebounding 45.1 to 44.3 in favor of the Toronto Raptors. And so, yeah, you go across the board, and these teams are pretty even. So what do you do if you're the Trailblazers to get yourself out of that, right? And to create a little bit of that separation? Well, it's similar to other games where when you get close, if you're Portland, you need to take things that you do well and make sure you can assert yourself there. And that is rebounding. Even though their rebounding numbers as teams are even, I think that always lends its hand there for a team to take advantage of that and be more aggressive and clean up on the glass. Last time these two matched up, Portland did win that rebound battle 51 to 47, in large part of 14 rebounds from Donovan Clingan. So I'm going to look right at Donovan Clingan and say he needs to have another one of those type games tonight. Be very, very aggressive on the glass and help Portland win that rebound battle, because I think that one will be key. Even with all the players out for Toronto, Jakob Poeltl being one of them, if they win that rebound battle, they're going to find ways to get out, get those easy buckets. You can't do that. But it's not going to be just Donovan Clingan. You're going to need everyone else. And it was really good to see in that game in Atlanta, Portland won that rebound battle 54 to 45. And the two leading rebounders on the team were a guard and a forward. It was Denny Avdia and Shaedon Sharpe, the two guys who had double-doubles, a triple-double for Denny, who combined for 25 rebounds. So if you can get that type of performance coupled out there with the aggressiveness on the glass from Donovan Clingan, guys like Tumani Kamara, then you're going to win that rebound battle and hopefully win it handily. And I think that is going to be a key for the Blazers to win this ball game. Also, we had talked about a lot about holding teams under 50% shooting, because you had that stretch there in those 4 games where those teams all shot about 54%, 60%. And then I think it was 53% in that last game against the Knicks. You got to hold a team to below that. You can't let a team go out there, shoot 50%, and then expect to win that game. In that last game that they did win against Toronto, the Raptors shot 40% from the floor on a night that Portland also shot 40% from the floor. So these teams, again, continue to be very, very similar in how they play. Hold them down, and I think you'll get that dub. Also, I want to see assist numbers up. Toronto they're all right. Like they got guys. We know Scotty Barnes can do things defensively, right? But again, there's no Jakob Poeltl in this one. They got a lot of other injuries to deal with. This is ready-made for the Blazers, to especially Denny Avdia, to get those assist numbers just flowing. I mean, you might be in another triple-double category for Denny, which would be absolutely phenomenal to see. Another player, though, outside of just stats, that I want to see have a big game tonight, because for some reason, when he tends to have good games, the Blazers tend to play well. Who would have thought? Maybe this guy is kind of important to your team. And that's Tumani Kamara. In that game against Toronto that they won, he had 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a couple of steals. And we've seen those performances from him all the time. Now, he battled through a little bit of a stinger in Atlanta. He battled through foul trouble. He had 6 fouls, but he still ended the night with 18 points. He only had 2 boards and an assist, but he did have 2 steals. He had a block shot. Like, he finds ways to impact the game. And again, Denny Avdia have asserted himself as the best Blazer so far this year. Tumani might very well be the most fun. Like, he makes defense fun. His offense is fun. Everything about him is kind of must watch right now. And I hope he has a big game tonight. I think the Blazers are going to need it. He had a pretty good game against Atlanta and helped them win, and media caught up with him after the game.
Tamani, a little bit scary moment there. You got your shoulder hit. You feeling okay now?
Yeah. It was nothing I was worried about. Something that happened before. Just my arm went numb for a little bit. Just like, you have nerves everywhere, so sometimes it happens, but kind of went away quick. So, yeah, something like that. But, yeah.
What did you like most? What were you most proud of about this win?
I think the way we finished it. We stayed together all 4 quarters. They made some runs and we were able to stay composed. I think it's short growth. There's a lot of situations where we can lay down towards the end of the game, and I feel like we stayed all 4 quarters and stick to the game plan.
What did you think of Shaden's double-double tonight?
I've seen him doing it before. It's just, and I feel like he wasn't even shooting it great tonight. So I feel like it's impressive what he can do offensively for sure. Trying to learn from him, we're trying to learn from each other. I think as a group, everybody's getting better every game. So it's really nice to see.
When Denny has a night like that where he's doing a little bit of everything, how helpful can that be to the rest of you guys?
For sure, especially when we're down on numbers. We're down on a lot of numbers. We're missing a lot of guys, and everybody's showing up. Everybody doing their job, and Denny stepping up in the big ways like that help us for sure.
What do you thought about the way he started games lately? It seems like he really kind of tries to be aggressive early on in games. Like I think he had 12 points in the first quarter. Really seems like a lot of times he goes out there and really tries to force the issue early. Yeah,
Denny's not the type of player that let the game come to him. He's going to get it, and I feel like that's his kind of that superpower. And there's no breaks for him. He always looking for the same thing, doing the same thing, and stay very solid on his things. So that's what he does. He's really good at it.
I'll ask you the same thing, Ash Shaden. Obviously you guys are running out of time, and it'll be tough to get the play in, but is that something that's still motivating you guys this late in the season?
For sure. We're going day by day, see how this go. Stick together and try to get as many wins as possible. That's where I'm at right now.
He said something there, though, that I really liked, and it was about Denny Avdia's game. He said he doesn't let the game come to him. He goes out and gets it. Like, he goes and finds it, and I like that. That's that aggression, right, where you are going to start making everyone adjust to you. There is no feeling out process. You just trust your instincts, and you just dive right in. Trust your ability. I'll go right into the deep end, man. Like, I trust my ability to swim. I don't need to wade in. I don't need to step in the ankle first. I'm just going to dive in. It's like playing a video game. You're going straight to the expert level, right? Straight to the expert level. That's what Denny's doing. That's what Denny's doing, and I think you'll love to see it. Quite honestly, it's led to some incredible basketball from him. And again, the consistency is there, the numbers are there, and he's turning into something special. I think Blazer fans have seen it. Blazer fans love it. And then obviously the guy right there that was talking, Tumani Kamara, he has been absolutely incredible all year long. I mean, the Blazers have put together the box, right? The box. They're trying to get a campaign in there for him to win Defensive Player of the Year or get on those defensive teams. Like, that's how good he's been. Like, putting it out there that he should be on the all-defense team, like, that's not a stretch. Like, that is how good Tumani Kamara has been, right? And so, again, basketball right now is fun. 6 games left, 3 games back, play-in, realistic, right? Most likely to be stuck in the lottery, but the fact that it is still there and the way the schedules for Sacramento and Phoenix play out, boy, howdy. Like I said, buckle up, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, I don't know if you go to Six Flags, right? If you didn't like roller coasters, like you all signed up for this as Blazer fans, you know this was going to be an amusement park ride of a season. But sometimes you ever ride a ride, you're like, that was really fun. I wish it was a little bit longer. Well, you don't have to this year. Because I think most people thought this season was probably going to be done at All-Star break, right? We've seen it in the past where they mailed it in and the injuries that you've never heard of before all of a sudden started popping up, and it was tank season, right? And I think everyone thought this was going to be another one of those because Cooper Flag's in the draft, and it makes all the sense in the world. But All-Star break is when this team's going to mail it in. That's not the case. Because I've said this multiple times to you all already, that if you would have told me back in November that come the end of the season, we're going to get to April and we're going to be sitting here on April 3rd and we're still going to be looking at the standings. We're going to be looking at schedules because the Blazers still have a chance, even if it's a long shot, still have a chance of making the play. And I would have called you crazy. And you probably be like, no, seriously, hear me out. And I'd be like, no. you're wild. You are making stuff up. That is crazy. Let's bet. I'll bet lunch. I would have been paying a lot of people lunch because I would have been wrong. I thought they could have been about a 30-win team if everything was good. And even that was crazy because when I said I think they could win 30 games if they're fully healthy, Chad said I was wild. But here we are. And it's fun, man. The roller coaster ain't stopping. 6 games left, including tonight. Buckle up. Buckle up. We've hit the loops, the corkscrews. Might still have a couple more drops back up, hit top speed, come back in. We'll get off the roller coaster when we're ready. Right now, we're just going to enjoy it. All right, don't go anywhere because coming up next, Chad Dewing has your Trailblazers pregame.